says that he has a mess of a life, that he is a narcissist, and she ain't tell not one lie. He did not present himself as who he truly was when he was going through the application process. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel, being Simone Iman. I am Simone Iman, and if you're new here, go ahead and like the video and subscribe, because I am just foreseeing you falling in love with moi. I do a little bit of everything. My YouTube is my personal diary. Sometimes it's hauls, most times it's reviews, and we're gonna dabble into fitness. And I know I keep saying that, but it's super important to me, and I want to make sure I got it right, so that when I produce this content, it's exactly what you guys need, are looking for, all those things. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you know every time I upload a video, and follow me on Instagram. It's Simone_Iman_, and I've been uploading reels of me working out every day, and I'm super proud, and I'm getting some views. Anyway, today we're going to talk about Married at First Sight season 12. This is episode 13, when they sit down and individually they all talk to the experts. The tea, okay? Okay, so you guys, this episode was super insightful. It wasn't a whole lot going on. It was just a lot of conversation, but I'm a conversationalist, so I was here for it. The first couple we're going to talk about is the couple that we felt like were like the best honeymooners, Briana and Vincent. I love their love story. I think they're doing so well in the, grand scheme of maths. But we got some insight into some deeper issues that they need to confront. In the beginning of their scenes, they are, my mama always say I scratch my nose a lot in my videos. Let me stop. I got allergies. But they start out talking about budgeting, and it's just very clear that they're in two different lanes when it comes to finances. Briana has a successful career, and she makes a lot of money, and she's spending it. And he's an entrepreneur, and he's in the beginning phases of being an entrepreneur. And it's always been something that he said on this show, is that he needs someone who will support him in his aspirations, his goals, his dreams. And I think Briana does that, but they just don't have the same value for $1. When they're sitting down doing their budget, the monthly budget is $9,000 in expenses. How much money Briana made? Because that's a lot. On entertainment, my family eats out a lot. I ain't gonna lie, we do, especially in the last few weeks, because we're getting home renovations in our kitchen. But she says each date night is $200. I'm running at about $100, me myself. She sounds like she buying a bottle of wine at every dinner. I don't know, but it's a lot. It's excessive, and they can't compromise on that. There are some, there are some instances in life where you need to cut corners because you're investing to do something bigger. Specifically, like if they want to buy a home and they need to save for a down payment, or if they're buying a fixer-upper and they want to have a little more money in the budget to fix things up. Just like there's so many things in life as you become an adult and you settle down that you need to save money for. He wants to get her a bigger ring, I'm sure, because y'all know them little math rings be this big. Just things like that. And he don't have the propensity to spend like she does, but also he has a stronger value for $1, because it just seems like he grew up a little tougher. It seems like he comes from a single parent home, and his mom was like an immigrant, and his background is just more of frugalness and that emotional connection to finances, because it can affect your life in a way that can be high or low. It can be very high or low. When they show the clip of her getting up out of bed and her trying to wake him up, it's foreshadowing a larger problem from them that we will see when he talks to Pastor Cal. When he goes to talk to Pastor Cal, he says, they all are saying how great their marriages are. Everybody but Paige and Chris, okay? And he's like, things are going well, it's marital bliss, but there are some deeper issues, like she makes him feel lazy. And I get that. You don't never want to just be waddling around in the bed when your partner up and at him. So I understand. But at the end of the day, if his job is more physically exerting, like driving gets tiresome, he needs a little rest. he's dealing in the automobile industry. And even if he wasn't, just like, if I'm tired, let me sleep. Don't make me feel bad about not waking up when you want me to wake up. It's something weird and motherly about that I don't like either, but I feel like that's an easy fix. And I was really disappointed when they started talking about it, and she was like, well, if you go to sleep earlier, then you can wake up earlier. No, ma'am, I am no longer in grade school, okay? The whole bedtime to wake up earlier, unless you're like in a profession that depends on you being on time, I would not advise. Do not recommend. Very ghetto. Not saying you should sleep till 12, but if I want to sleep in till 7:30, 8 o'clock, allow that. Like, do I have to wake up at the crack ass of dawn? Ass crack of dawn. I feel like that's too much. Like, that's a part of her assertiveness that we can go it out, right? But he needs to feel comfortable telling her that as well. Like, I don't feel like getting up, so I'm not getting up. And it don't have to be cruel, but it can be honest. One of the experts said that. And then my heart broke when Briana talked to Dr. Pepper, because she shared that she has high blood pressure. You guys, some illnesses can be so invisible, because you wouldn't think someone that looks like her, because she's super thin and trim and she seems fit overall, would be dealing with something like that. Like, when you think of someone having high blood pressure, you think of someone being overweight and stuff like that. But you know, high blood pressure is also a heart condition. So I could understand her being afraid to have children, because preeclampsia ain't no joke, okay? Preeclampsia will have you on bed rest, and swole, looking like Rasputia. So I get her being afraid to have children, but it's super important for him to have children. So they're gonna have to find, you know, a compromise in that. And it's like, really, can you compromise in your health? You really can't. They're just gonna have to explore their options, work on her health as best they can, and get with a specialist. That's where you need to invest your money, the money you're saving. If your insurance won't provide you to see a specialist, you need to get with a cardiac specialist that has some kind of, you know, experience with obstetrics and gynecology, and, you know, try to make it work. Because I'm sure she wants to be a mom. She's just afraid, like most women are. But I love what Pastor Cal told Vincent. You can be selfish, and I tell people that all the time, especially when we're talking about young people. Be selfish. You gotta take care of yourself. Now, that doesn't mean you don't care about anyone else, but self-preservation is like natural, and you should never be forsaking yourself for others, married, single, or otherwise. Very ghetto. Do not recommend. And then poor Clara and Ryan, Lord. They really do themselves, all the couples, a disservice, trying to act like it's just rainbows and roses, and it's not. This is the thing for me with Clara and Ryan. Clara is not expressing how she feels. Like, I get it, he's a great catch, okay? He has values, he's respectful, you can bring him home to your mama. Like, Ryan is a nice guy. Gotcha, I'm with you on that one. Girl, be selfish, take care of yourself. Like, she denies herself of her feelings because she's afraid to ruffle his feathers. Who gives a damn? At this point, you got him. He's your husband. She sits down with, who she talks to? Pastor Cal or Dr. Pepper? She talks to Pastor Cal and trying to put on this front like everything's great. And Pastor Cal's like, well, what about spiritual values? That's a big deal. His parents are ministers. He wants to raise his children in the church, and you're like, not there. Like, lifestyle, values, personal values, those are things that I don't feel like you should compromise for a relationship. And I get it, they signed up to marry a stranger, but at the end of the day, you got the option to walk away. I think it's really cruel to self to dumb yourself down to make someone else happy. Like, if you're not into spirituality and you don't want to raise your children in the church, then say that. if you're open to it, then say that. I think she kind of like straddles the fence on a lot of things, and she just needs to be direct with him. Because one thing about Ryan, he being direct with her, and this is the thing, Ryan's approach is very, very, very opposite of like someone like Chris, where Chris delivers his truth and is cruel and is mean. Ryan has a good sense of delivering his truth without offending you or hurting your feelings. But he's still not compromising himself. No, I want to raise my kids in the church. No, girl, I'm not going to have sex with you. He's doing it. He's modeling the behavior that you should portray as well. Like, I don't think it's fair for him to be in a relationship with someone who's straddling the fence on something as serious as religious values, and then will ultimately change your mind or be like, oh, we're going to handle that when we get there. We need to have as much conversation about it now so we can have a clear understanding, because we might not get there. If it's a fine no for you and it's a fine no for me, then bye. When it comes to her sexual frustration, she's not saying the things. That footage on that like surveillance camera and whoever's apartment they were in, when it's her, Briana, Paige, and Haley, she was super expressive about her frustrations with her and Ryan not being intimate. She holds back so much when she talks to everyone else about it. No, like that Clara that was in that footage, that's the Clara that should have been sitting down talking to Pastor Cal and Ryan, for that matter. Like, and then she's like, she's getting him off every night. I had to think about it, y'all. Maybe she's not slobbing the knob. Maybe it's hand jobs. Whatever it is, it's more than what she getting. Because if he's not having sex with her, I highly doubt he's doing anything else. Because, what is it called? Tingleitis? Whatever the actual scientific term for head on a woman is. That's super intimate. And if he's not willing to have sex with her, then I doubt that he's doing that. She's getting the short end of the stick. He's getting all his needs met, and she's getting nothing. Is that fair? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Then Ryan sits down with Dr. Pepper, acting like everything's perfect, and he doesn't even know how she feels. I think he does know how she feels about them not having sex. I think that it's safe for him to say he doesn't know, but he knows that girl is sexually frustrated, and he knows it's unreasonable to an extent because she's his wife. But I think he's really, really concerned with his public image, and his parents are pastors, and he's not gonna be looking like no slut on national television having sex with this woman he just met. But you won that race. It's been some weeks now, some months, and you're married, and you're planning on staying married from what I gather as a viewer. So consummate your marriage. Like, it's not gonna make you look bad at all. But then also, his parents are ministers. He grew up in the church. He probably do. No, I was gonna say he got strong values when it comes to sexuality, but or sex, but he doing everything else. So you've done it. Right. It's just not the specific term of penetration or the specific act of penetration, but you've basically done that from what we gather. I also don't think he's comfortable talking about that on camera, which I get when your parents are pastors and the congregation might be watching this. I think that, yeah, Clara just downplays herself for him, and I don't like it. Just like I don't like Virginia downplaying herself for Erik. It's like, girl, these are strangers at the end of the day, and I know y'all married, but be you. Like, let him fall in love with who you really are, not your representative. So, yeah, my best friend showed up with a suit on, and I was like, oh, he's a little overdressed, but he looks nice. Then Jacob goes to sit down with Haley at home, and he had on Levi's at the bottom. Like, it was suited and booted. It was Steve Harvey up top. and Wranglers at the bottom. Just throw the whole closet away, Jacob. Just throw the whole closet away. He talks to Pastor Cal, and he says what he's been saying. He doesn't feel like she's attracted to him, and that he isn't sure why she pulled back when they were in Vegas, because she regretted it. because she's not attracted to you, but you're not ugly, so she can work with it. In layman's terms, I don't know how else to say it. When Haley goes to speak with Dr. Pepper, she acknowledges all these positive things about Jacob because he really does have a lot of great qualities. He's just a lot less exciting than she is, or that she's used to. He doesn't have a lot of style, and she seems like she's giving very much free people every episode. She got a big clothing budget like Briana. And they're just opposite in that sense, but she can bring him into the modern era. She can bring the excitement out of him. It's just gonna take some work, you know. And I don't think it's something that can happen in, what is the experiment, 8 weeks? Like, hell no. Like, it's probably gonna take him a year or two to, you know, bring it up a notch. And he just needs to feel comfortable. She doesn't make him feel comfortable because he's trying so hard to make her like him. He's trying so hard that he's not even trying, if that makes sense, you know. And he really was hurt by the fact that she pulled back so soon in the relationship, which I get. Like, I would have been offended too if you slept with me and then all of a sudden you don't like me no more. Like, that's offensive. But I think that Dr. Pepper made a good point when she was talking to Haley about the fact that she's so you know, she wants him to change so much, but she's not changing anything about herself. Is she the Erik and he's the Virginia in this situation? He's changed his clothes. She wants him to do more exciting activities. He had to get his chart read. What you gonna do, Haley? She needs to throw him an 80s birthday party or something, or just because party, and indulge in some of the things that he enjoys and meet him where he is. Because that's super unfair to make someone bend over backwards for you and you can't even bend down to pick up a piece of paper. Like, you bending nothing. You're not able to bend at all. You're not malleable. Like, what are you giving to him, you know? But he's a great guy, and I feel like the conversation that they had when they came together after meeting with the experts was pivotal in their relationship, because it's like, look, we're both committed and we're both trying, and their issues aren't big enough for them to be divorced, you know. He's attractive. He's a meathead. He's in the gym. His face isn't ugly. He just don't have no style. Like, and I ain't gonna say most men, but a lot of men don't have style until they meet a woman who can help them elevate their look, you know. She was really harping on the fact that he hadn't had a lot of life experiences in the last 10 years, but he's literally been laying the foundation for marriage. Because, you know, it's like, okay, if I find a great girl, then, you know, we're going to go and we're going to buy a house together and have kids together, and we're going to flourish and grow in our careers together. Well, that wasn't happening. He didn't meet the great girl, but then he also didn't just like stall out and be a immature young man. He still made all the steps to be a great spouse one day. He just had a little hard time finding a woman, which makes sense. And he's like, all my friends were settling down and having kids, and there was no opportunity for me to be social. He couldn't go off and have guys trips or explore, or, you know, who wants to do that stag? He's like, I've been dating the last 10 years because this is what I want. My ultimate goal is to have a wife and to have marriage. Work with me. And then we meet with Erik and Virginia, and yeah, Erik is some toxic. Virginia's sister comes over with her boys. Is this the lesbian sister? I think so, because I think she said that she had kids. He didn't show a lot of interest in them boys, and the boys didn't show a lot of interest in him. Kids' energy is the best energy, because kids be knowing. They sat down and they had pizza, and they did what they all do in front of the experts and anyone else who they talk to. They try to act like everything is all good. And then once he leaves, you know, Virginia's a little more open with her sister about what they're dealing with. That whole social and political views thing, child, let him go MAGA by himself, okay? He didn't seem friendly or warm or inviting with her sister and the boys. He just seemed irritated to me. It was awkward. I didn't like the energy that he gave when her sister came over, honestly. Virginia talks to her sister about like their living situation and having kids and stuff, and their social views. And I just feel like that's too many red flags, honey. Too many. Let them go. It's not worth it. Virginia talks to Pastor Cal, and she's so fidgety and so nervous, and she says she has a fear of being pregnant. Most women, like I said, do, but then also of not being a great mom. But I love what Pastor Cal said. There is no great parents, okay? You're gonna mess them up no matter what. But I also love what Pastor Cal said, in that the fact that you're even concerned about how great of a mom you'll be means you'll be a great mom. So don't put a lot of pressure on yourself for that. I don't think Erik gets it. Erik just wants her to pop out babies. Like, he doesn't have any compassion for her fear or her past trauma as a child with her parents. He don't care about all that. He just wants you to pop it open and give him babies. She talks about how he ultimatums her. That's another red flag. He's quick to say this, or I'm out. Okay, well, this is a marriage and we're not out yet, so how do we get past this to satisfy both of us? Like, it's very selfish and immature. And then Erik talks to Dr. Pepper, and honestly, when they recap and he's talking about how great they are, this is like a prolonged hookup. Like, this is a one night stand that's going a few more nights. That's the energy they give. It's just like lustful. You know, they say they love each other, but mouths say a lot. Like, I don't feel like they do. But that's not my business. But it just seems like a hookup. It seems lustful. I feel like when they're supposed to talk about things that aren't shallow, when they're going more in depth, it's just two different, they're polar opposite. They're on each end of the spectrum, and that doesn't serve either one of them at all. I don't like it. I feel like he's really nitpicky with her, and especially with the dog. Like, I love Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper says, why do you need to be this dog's dad so bad? Like, if it's not working out, if it's causing contention in your relationship, let it go. If this were her child, you could not come into this situation trying to be his dad. Like, it wouldn't work like that. Now all of a sudden he gets it. Now I understand what you're saying. You've been getting it. You're controlling. That's it. That's where it starts and stops. Erik is controlling. The end. That's all it's about. They talk about the drinking and the hanging out with friends, and that's not what he wants in a wife, but that's who Virginia is. And I'm with Virginia. I don't think this is a phase. This is a lifestyle, okay? She likes to party. She has a lot of strong, she values her relationship with her friends. If she has a strong bond with all of her friends, and she has like a group of friends, she doesn't want to take herself out of that. Like, no, I still enjoy hanging out with my friends, but because I'm married now, I can't hang out with my friends. Toxic, okay? No, don't do it. Don't move past go. Like, it's not worth it, because at the end of the day, I feel like they're both honestly compromising what they truly want, because they're trying to make this TV marriage work. He don't want a woman that's a partier who's unsure about having kids. He wants a Betty Crocker homemaker like his mother, a stay-at-home mom who's just going to be barefoot and pregnant, and PTO, and soccer mom, and car rider line minivan, waiting for her babies to get out of school at 3 o'clock. That's what he's looking for. And Virginia is, woo, let's go to Vegas. Woo, let's go on bourbon in New Orleans. Woo, like, she's not that girl. I don't like it. When they come to talk to each other, she's super nervous to talk to him. I hate that. They talk about the dog, and she's like, thank you God, Dr. Pepper. And then they start talking about like the friends and the drinking, and her, reserving one weekend out of the month for their relationship, for them to spend time together. And she's like, okay, as long as it's planned, but you can't ask me to cancel my plans at the last minute. And he feels like, because he's her husband, that she just has to drop everything and do what he wants her to do at any given moment. And I get it. Ideally, you would want your partner to say nothing is more important than you, but she's not there. She's damn near 10 years younger than him, and she's still having fun with her friends. Catch her in 10 years. Maybe she'll be able to make those compromises for you, but that's not the girl you married. And to try to force her to be that in 2 months, it's not realistic, and it's not fair, and it's not gonna work out well for y'all. He's like, well, what do I need to do? What am I supposed to do while you're out hanging with friends? Get you some friends. Anybody else tired of talking about Paige and Chris? Oh, just me? Paige meets with Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper, you can tell Dr. Pepper been wanting to talk about Chris. She says that he has a mess of a life, that he is a narcissist, and she ain't tell not one lie. He did not present himself as who he truly was when he was going through the application process and the vetting process, okay? Paige gets to tell us how she's disappointed, and I was really in this for marriage. Girl, that whispering. We know Paige. We know. I mean, I have nothing else to say. They rag on Chris, well deserved, and Paige goes to the apartment and packs it up. Let me look at my notes to make sure I ain't missing nothing important. They talk about her in the car and the meeting of Mercedes and what was the purpose. And Dr. Pepper hit the nail on the head, very basically. They did that to hurt you. There was no other reason. It was to hurt your feelings. It was. And sometimes people do shit like that and it's subconscious because they're such assholes. Like, I don't think he set out to say, ooh, let me embarrass this girl on TV real quick. But he's such an asshole that his subconscious worked for him. He ain't had to do nothing. His subconscious did it. Pastor Cal meets with Chris, and Chris is an hour late. Pastor Cal is over it, as are we. Like, there are a million memes that could be made by all the facial expressions that Pastor Cal served up when he was talking to Chris. He served rudeness an hour late. Pastor Cal is like, you know, what was it that was a deciding factor for you? And Chris basically calls Mercedes ugly. Her face. He just kept saying her face, her face. If I was at a bar or at church, I wouldn't approach her. And we knew that from the beginning. He is attracted to more European features. She's a little too ethnic for him. Her skin is dark. And he wants light skin, long hair. Coke bottle shape. He wants an Instagram model. He said something about being a power couple and being able to work a room. Either him or Pastor Cal say that, but that's what he wanted, and he doesn't feel like Mercedes fit that mold. And then he goes on to blame the experts and say that you guys should have matched me with someone who was more my style, my speed, but you're ugly. So if you're gonna call Paige ugly, then that's a good match. You look like Quasimodo from Hunchback of Notre Dame, and you bad built, and you knock-kneed. So, who are you? Oh, you think you Chris Brown? Child, please. It was just so ugly. They started talking about like him buying a car from Mercedes, and I hate that we even got a name for the baby mama, honestly. But I'm not gonna, you know, rag on another black woman. What was the point? He was like, oh, I told Mercedes I told Paige she could have came with us to buy her a car. He wants to get Mercedes a Mercedes. He wants to stunt. And since Paige is not the type of woman he felt like he could stunt with on TV, he got his ex to come on TV so he could stunt with her. That's what it gave me. That's what I'm feeling like. You know, well, you know, she don't look good on my arm, but I'm gonna show the world who do look good on my arm and who makes me feel like more of a man. Pastor Cal was like, you know, you buying cars and a house for a baby who not even here yet. Do that make sense? And you're married to another woman. Like, why would he begin this process and he's still in the trenches with his ex? Narcissist is toxic and it's narcissistic. He says that he tried his best, and Pastor Cal is like, this is your best? You didn't try your best. You never even moved into the apartment. Like, for instance, Haley is not necessarily physically attracted to Jacob, but she's in the apartment. She's doing the process to make it work. You never even moved into the apartment. Paige had to move out of the apartment by herself. And Dr. Pepper said in the beginning of the scene, like, they both said they're moving on. So I'm guessing this is over. But have y'all seen the sneak peek for Decision Day? I'm offended. I'm offended. All right, you guys, that's all I have for this week's episode of Married at First Sight. Insightful episode, but not too exciting, just a bunch of conversation. But we got a lot of roots dug up that need some tending to. I hope you liked my video. Give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel, and I will see you guys next week.